There we go, we're live. Hey guys, yeah, we're just going to continue on this, as always. I always start by saying that, it's pretty obvious. So I'm just going to get straight into it. I'm thinking of working on primarily his clothing textures, at least the lower body, because obviously we blocked it out, but it's not working yet. So get a bit more kind of large variation in the trousers, kind of brighten them up a bit, and get the shoe color working, because currently this is a bit too dark, a bit too saturated. It's just pretty weak looking. So we'll improve that. And then, depending on how long that takes, might work pretty briefly on the hacks. That's feeling a bit too flat. And then I'm going to start kind of modeling more stuff for the environment, because I'm putting off doing the rigging for the character yet, just because I don't know if I want to change the trousers like completely. And obviously if I rig and get it imposed, like there's no point doing that before I'm actually happy with how he looks in general. But in general, overall the image is starting to come together. We're starting to get a general idea of what the scene's going to be in the final thing. I just need to kind of fill it out and make it feel a bit more in use, I guess. But yeah, so let's just get into substance. And yeah, so the problem I've got now is that this trainer color is actually nothing like what we have in Maya. So let's quickly check how that's doing. Perspective camera. Hey, look, man, how you doing? Let's just get that in there. Let's just do a quick test render with that. Obviously, we need to fix the displacement kind of inflation that it's got going. So let's sort of quickly check how that material's built and what it's doing. List. I can drop that in here, can't I? Make that a bit easier to use. Needs a bit more kind of a warp to it as well, which will be interesting to get in. Yeah, it's been a while. Not doing too bad. I don't know when the last time you dropped by was. I changed job last month, which is kind of cool. Gone from NPC to Blue Zoo. I really can't remember how long it's been. Like, I'm struggling to kind of think of what I've done since. I mean, obviously with global lockdown and stuff, not a huge amount, but yeah, let's get this guy updating. So specular. I'm gonna slightly reduce the IOR on that guy. Something like. In fact, no. Let's try cranking it. See what it looks like. Just out of curiosity. It looks interesting, but it's not really what I want. It's kind of cool though. Let's just bring that down to a much more reasonable level. The thing is with IOR and cloth is it's really hard to kind of pin down exactly what you should have, because cloth in real life is fibers, so you get like a ton of extra energy kind of being conserved. Although I do like the saturation it gives when you got it cranked. But let's just quickly go into the color. And what have I got in here? So I've got a file, and then this is being added. So I don't actually have any darkening yet. So if I just make that invisible. Maybe just add a bit more of this. Oh, wrong one. There we go. That's a bit of what it was missing. And is this reflective? Oh, my maps are broken for the legs. Okay, I'll have to sort that out at some point. Let's just get a large displacement on this shoe thing, just to get some general bumpiness to it. Hey Ian, how you doing, man? I need to stop with just creating random windows and actually do this. Panels. So panel hypershade. There you are. Let's do this thing. Yeah, everything's going pretty well on my end. Work's been fun. Started to pick up some more techie tasks now, so it's a lot more kind of to my taste. So that's the, oh, there's displacement. 0.2. So what happens if I set you to 0? Okay, so it's not inflating there. So it's definitely inflating overall. Well, why is it inflating? Because this set range is definitely doing its work, unless I've plugged the wrong color in. No. Let's just try setting these, like all of these anyway. I doubt it makes a difference, but so that file in of itself isn't inflating it, which is good. So it's these guys that are inflating it. I do sometimes wonder if it's better to do these set ranges before it goes into the layer texture. I might give that a go. Let's do a set range. Well, actually, let's just copy paste this guy. Edit, duplicate without network. You in there. Edit, duplicate, without network. Oh, did I disconnect the wrong one? Let's fix that. There we go. Get you up there. And then this corduroy material needs to be fixed as well. Edit, duplicate, without network. So now we can try adding these layers back in one at a time. So let's do set range 11. Which one are you? Shoe made bumps. Cool. Layers visible. Okay, so this one's not inflating anything. Might be a bit too high frequency though, but if we lower that back down, let's go 0.4, and then let's introduce the large bumps, see if that's what's breaking it. Oh, it's fixed now. Alright, cool. Let's set you up to full strength. enough debug shading. That's fine. So let's try you. Something's broken. Okay. Let's try turning off everything except that one. Seems like it's working to me. Let's try lowering that frequency a fair bit. Let's go to like 0.5, 0.5. Increase the strength for that to like double. Maybe I should lower my frequency ratio to like 1. So it's basically just the noise is just as soft. Okay, so let's increase that frequency again. It was like 1.4, right? Or like 1.3 or something. Let's try slightly higher. Let's go 2.4. 2.4. There we go, that's the size I was looking for. Granted, it's obviously too extreme, but I can now just reduce that. Let's go back down to 0.2. That's clipping slightly, so we'll have to pull it back even more. There we go, so it's still there, but it's a lot more subtle now. That would kind of break up the thickness of things, make it look a little bit less uniform. Might still be a bit too much. Let's pull it down even further. Let's go 0.4. Cool. And let's turn on the mid frequency, see what that's doing on its own. This one's going to have to go way up in frequency. So that needs to be like 8 or something now. And remove that frequency ratio. Let's go 1.2 just so it's got a little bit of breakup. So that's got something to it now. The reflection is super weird, but once we add the breakup, like this isn't even remotely realistic, but I like what it does when we've got the actual cloth breakup on there. So let's do that. Oh yeah, that's looking a lot better. Still clipping. May just have to manually move stuff around to stop that. There's no point battling it. So now I just need to fix the color, because this is the actual color. Which, considering I want to move it close to the wood, I may as well just visually match that for now. So, base color. Let's just go thought that might be good. And then I need to fix the paint on the legs because it looks a bit weird. And that's clipping, so I need to fix that too. So let's go in. Where are the legs? Is it the legs, right? Yeah, that's them there. So hide the clothing, go to wood matte. That's the base wood, right? This is the actual paint. Oh no, that's the eyebrows. So, oh, that's skin paint. Okay, there we go. Cool, so let's go to this guy and let's just paint out areas on the legs. I guess we could just do it in here. Shelf, brushes, artistic soft. Let's see if that has a nice effect. Oh, my Wacom's not plugged in. There we go. Give that a second. There we go. Come on. Oh. Oh, you downloaded the trial for ZBrush. Nice, man. You finding it well? You getting lost in the weird UI? Oh, saving. Oh, open save then. There we go. So next thing would be to get some breakup on the trousers. So I think what I'm going to do for these... Where's the trousers? Oh, that's coat. Shoes. Trousers. And that's currently just a fill layer. So we're going to need to add a layer on top of that, which does nothing except change the color. And we want this. This can be our pinstripe layer actually. So let's just go stripes. fill. Then, as always, just gonna quickly pick the UDIM that I want to use, just to kind of speed things up a bit. I'll do that with this guy too. Now just speed the performance up a little bit. So, brushes, add black mask, and then I'm just going to go with chalk. Definitely not chalk bumpy. That could be interesting. So it's going to need to be even smaller, isn't it? I'm not sure if this is what I want to go with or not. Yeah, I shouldn't pull the stroke in like that. I know there is like a straight stroke brush, but I actually don't want to use it. Come on. There we go. Break up that line a bit. Does that work better? I was thinking I'll make it a lot more subtle in the final thing. It's just to add some general kind of just something going on, you know? I'm willing to break up the symmetry though. Maybe I should even do this in here. Be a bit quicker. Maybe even sketch out a few bits. Yeah, I'm completely lost, haha. Like there's 3 save buttons apparently. Saving, I just keep saving Z-tools. I personally don't save Z-tools like ever, but that's because I'm not working in a tight pipeline. Like, I'm not too worried about storage. I can just delete old projects. In fact, I'm actually due to delete old projects soon. I'm almost debating putting some of my old projects out just for download, just so that if anyone wants to play about with them, they can. The keyword there is almost debating. I'm not 100% set on doing that yet, because like naturally at some point I'm going to have to delete the projects. I've already got evidence they exist on the internet, so I don't need to keep a backup. I'm not going to be using any of my projects for anything, so deleting them, you know, one of the things that I'm sometimes pretty bad for is I don't care about deleting stuff. I just delete it if it's not helpful to me. Obviously, if something's like actually important, then I don't delete it. But old projects I don't count as actually important. Maybe I should lower my opacity a bit, or the flow. Get a bit more variation in the actual quality of the stroke. And I just need to do the back. I don't know why it's not painting down here. Oh, now it is. Yeah, I think like back to your kind of general question is like saving ZTools is I think the most memory efficient way, but you don't keep your history, and I like to keep the history in a lot of stuff. Like sometimes I like to sculpt with history turned off just so I can't undo, because I think it's quite a helpful thing to learn just how to fix stuff rather than just undo it every time. Just because for me I can find it's really easy to get stuck into a loop of undoing something over and over again to get it right, and I really want to get into get myself to a point where I don't have to keep on doing the same exact stroke just to get it perfect. I'd rather learn to deal with whatever stroke I put down and correct it if I need to, rather than delete it. I know I was literally just saying about deleting stuff though, so I've got a different mentality when it comes to actually sculpting. So that's that done, right? Oh, I didn't do this one. Can you tell I'm getting lazier with this one? There we go. Cool. So now just make that a lot more subtle. Let's do it with the fill though, rather than the opacity. Just so I still have full control over the colours if I want them. I guess I should add some more lines to the crotch, although I'm not sure. Let's just try changing this colour to be a bit more subtle. Cool. And then what I want to do now is a layer, add a new fill layer, and this one will be like kind of a worn out thing, because I don't want the color to be uniform the way it currently is. So let's go with a new fill layer. Don't know why I'm struggling with it. Oh, it's because I'm looking in the wrong place. This one will be a lighten layer, and again, only color for this guy. Gotta set this one. So do I want to do this one as a multiply? Let's just add a black mask for now, and do that. Paint white in. Find a nice soft brush. That's quite an interesting brush, but I think kind of wish it was a little bit less vertical. I need a brush with more edge breakup. Too much edge breakup on that guy. What brush would work well? Maybe this one. Oh, that could be cool. Insanely low flow. I just want it to literally just do that, like scuff it up slightly. So it's just not so perfect the whole way. I want to aim it primarily around like the knee area. So like the way that trousers fade over time. I could arguably do this with a cloud noise just as well, but I need to put this below you as well. Let's do that. Get a little bit of breakup in there. So these lines look a bit shit, don't they? Let's try a different line kind of technique for that. Because I feel like I do need something. Oh, let's try a darker line. Yeah, I need to try something else. So let's try creating a new fill. Oh, not to you. Add black mask, and in that mask, let's add a. Would it be a generator? 3D linear gradient maybe would work. Although I need a 2D one actually. Auto Stitcher, what are you? Oh, hello. Why has this been my whole life? Curvature. This is really cool. And we can try setting that to be very subtle. So it's barely there. It's interesting. We'll keep it. I kind of wish it could go all the way to the actual edge of the UVs. It doesn't seem like it can. Is there a negative number? Negative 0.1? No. What happens if I set this all the way to the max? Yeah, it's just an offset. Alright, set back to 0. And let's try making a new fill layer, because that was just kind of a happy accident that I found something that looks cool. Let's add a no, not a generator. Add a fill, I think. And what can I fill this with? I need a lines. That's a 2D texture. Is there a scratch generator that I can use? I might be able to use a scratch generator to get what I want. Could even use this potentially, let's see. So, grunge scratch generator. How many controls do you give me? Oh, basically none. Okay, so let's try replacing you with you. Let's see if I can force this to do what I want. Okay, and then unlock that. Cool. How do I find a value that will work with us? Promising. There we go. This is starting to get what I want. I knew there'd be a way to get scratches to make it do this sort of stuff. So pattern X and pattern Y. So let's set these back to 1 and 1, just so I actually know what I'm doing. Okay, so we need a pattern size Y, so that needs to go way up. Pattern size X, you need to go way thinner. I need way more of them. I need to be less random as well, but I don't think there's a control for that. It's kind of interesting. So rather than increase the amount, I can just tile it more at a lower density, right? So if I get something that's already pretty sparse on its own, like that, and then just tile it way more. So close. So close. Like, I'm really forcing this to do something it doesn't want to do. But damn it, it's getting close, so I'm gonna keep it. Hey ACC, or AC. I don't know which one to say. Yeah, the substance is pretty decent. I've definitely taken a liking to it. I don't know if I prefer it over Mari. Mari definitely is a little bit more stable, but like it is pretty nice. I'm learning at the moment how to force it to do stuff it doesn't want to do. Stuff like this, like using a scratch generator to give pinstripes, which actually it gives a better result than I expected. So now I just need to figure out how to get the exact results I want. it works surprisingly well. Ooh, that's a bit more uniform. Ooh, there we go. Perfect. Right, so now it's just a case of changing the amount to be more or less to be the exact amount of them that I want. Or the tiling, sorry. This is a fair bit quicker than painting. Although it seems a bit finicky to get like a well-controlled amount. There we go. Yeah, that works. I'll take that. Is there a distort that I can do? Are you also are you just texturing it, or did you model it also? Yeah, no, I've done the whole thing. If I go back into Maya, I've made the whole scene myself, and it's all been streamed. If you go back onto my channel, this is part 16, I think. We started from basically a sphere in ZBrush, and slowly but surely built out the whole scene. So, in terms of the whole scene, let me just get everything visible. So we need the environment inside the grass, and change this to render cam. This is the scene as it currently stands. There's still a ton of work to do on it, but it's starting to, you know, look vaguely like what I want it to. It's just we've got a ton of groom to do. We've got a ton of environment modeling and shading to do, because I still don't have an environment really. I've got a pencil and some paper, and that's kind of where it ends. But he's going to need groom to replace this sculpt. This thing's going to need like matted fur hanging from the body, which is why the body is so simple. I still need to go in and tweak the textures on this guy. There's a ton to do. I also need to rig and pose this guy to get some nice cloths in out. But yeah, we've done the whole thing from scratch. Everything's been on stream. I think I've done like 1 hour of work off stream. I really haven't done much off stream, which I tend to view as a good thing personally, because people get to see kind of how this stuff is done. At least by someone like me. And that's not necessarily a good thing. Let's go over grunge. Set you to multiply. There we go. It breaks up the lines a bit. So it's not such perfect lines anymore. This is a personal project. Yes, this is a personal project. The concept is from, if you look in the description, there's a link. Well, not a link. I don't know if I could actually get a link in there. There's a nod to the guy who this is based on. Let me just find projects, personal projects. What's the word I'm looking for? StickyMonsters, images, ref. So the original work is this, by a guy called Ken Mortensen, and he basically, I've got the actual book. Becca, my girlfriend, got me the book for our anniversary, and yeah, he draws like monsters on post-it notes, and he's made a book of them, and this is one of the things that he's made, and I just kind of love the image, so I thought I'd make it. Are you still using Aces for this project? Yes, I am. Still using Aces. I don't know if I'm using it correctly. I'm probably not, to be honest, but I'm definitely using it. Right, so that's the trouser material looking a bit better. Need a bit more variation on the hat, and then I'm going to move back into Maya, because I've painted all this extra stuff. If we go to the color channel, I've painted all this extra like general wear stuff. It looks pretty bad in the diffuse channel, but on the coat, and the hat doesn't have it at all. It looks really bad. So I'm going to work on the hat again. Let's just add another fill layer. This can be another lighten. Cool. Add a black mask. And we're going to paint in this guy. Guess we can try using this. Also, welcome to the stream, by the way, ACZ. Don't think I've seen you here before. So yeah, welcome. If you have any questions, do feel free to ask. Like, I quite enjoy getting questions on the chat. It's normally quite a quiet chat, although it's a bit more busy today than normal, which is nice to see. The last few streams in a row have been like dead. Granted, the reason I do these streams is to kind of encourage myself to do some work, like personal work. Definitely don't do it for publicity, because that would be a losing battle. I'm just going to paint this over the top and then pull it back. Just get a noisy effect, and then paint black to remove it where I don't want it. I will have to paint out the symmetry at some point. That's a terrible effect. Why did I do that? Okay, so let's just paint it in even more subtle. Let's even lower the opacity a bit. Oh, you said to me last time? Oh, sorry, man. This is a bit too subtle. Do you prefer painting rather than just yeah, I mean, I feel like just using noises all the time isn't really texturing. Like, look dev can do that, sure, and that's, you know, what I do on a daily basis as a look dev artist, is use noises to make interesting effects. But I want to texture. Like, that I find personal projects a lot more fun to do when you actually get involved, like really dig in and do, like, nothing fancy. Like, this definitely isn't fancy. It just gives me a chance to really experiment with stuff and make it look interesting. So we're gonna need to really lighten this guy up, because this rim needs to look very different from everything else. We could probably use a curvature to get this sort of stuff. Let's just crank you up a bit. I don't know what this line is. Figure that out at some point. But yeah, I don't really want to be a texture artist. I guess it's more just like, when you work in a professional environment, it's all about getting something that looks good quickly. It's not necessarily about enjoying the process. Like, enjoying the process is a byproduct. It's not the point of the job. So you don't always get to do things the way that you would normally do them. And the way that people normally do stuff is the way that they enjoy it. It's why they normally do it that way. So I use, like, the personal projects like the streams as a chance to kind of work the way that I would want to in an ideal environment. Like, if you know, if a project had unlimited budget and there was no deadlines, this is how I'd work, because it's the way that I enjoy. Granted, those projects don't exist. Is look dev just adding more maps, as look dev is slightly confusing, but texture seems straightforward? Yeah, so look dev, as far as I'm aware, it changes from studio to studio what they do. One common misconception though is, oh, all you do is plug maps in, because that's really not what look dev is. Look dev in several, out of the studios that I'm aware of, look dev tends to be more about kind of creating whatever you can procedurally. Things that would change shot per shot, things that affect how the material itself is, because the texturing is a very surface level approach. Like, when you make something look good with textures, you're just saying what that actual surface looks like in one specific lighting condition. When you're look deving, you're adding subsurface, you're adding all this extra stuff that defines how it acts in multiple conditions, not just the one condition. So yeah, the way I like to think of look dev is like, you're kind of building a more robust setup. Texturing is, something you definitely feed into LookDev, but there's nothing stopping a LookDev artist from completely altering the textures in the LookDev process. Like, you could paint some basic maps in here and then completely adjust them in shader. In fact, one of the examples of that, I guess, is I've created these maps in here, but in the actual shader, I'm not just using this color. Like, if I look at the coat for a sec, so I'm just going to save the project. So if we look at the coat for a moment, we've got this texture, but if we go into Maya, the coat looks nothing like that. So if I just render this little section, the coat is a lot more kind of stripy and broken up, and the reason for that is because I'm doing a lot of work in the shader to make it feel more like a fabric. I guess we're not a really good distance for this, so let's move in a bit closer. So LookDev is about, at least in my mind, taking this, which is a pretty basic texture map just to get a general idea of color and all that sort of stuff, and taking that to this, which feels more like the actual material. Granted, some workflows would want you to spend more time in texturing, like to get this in texturing, but the way that I like to work, and again, the reason I do personal projects is because I prefer to work in a certain way, and this is what I enjoy most, the workflow wise. But yeah, so that's the way I think of LookDev. And if I show you the shader, it's definitely not just maps plugged straight in. So the shader itself is this. So it may look complex if you're new to LookDev, and like as far as shaders go, this is actually relatively simple compared to like the higher end stuff. But this is definitely complex for like a beginner. 100%. This will take a while to really wrap your head around like making it. But basically all this stuff up here is displacement, so just changing the shape of the object. I've got multiple displacements all going together. One of them is a map from Texturing XYZ, which I was given a couple of years ago. And then that's being mixed with two noises just to get kind of the bumpiness of the surface, not just the cloth, but also not just the fabric like weave, but also like these extra bumps. And they're then going into the set range, multiply, divide. All this stuff just kind of sets it to not inflate the mesh too much. And down here we've got our base color, which is the map we've painted. That is this map. But then that's going into two different nodes. One of them brightens it a little, and one of them darkens it a little bit. And they are being masked by another map. And what that map does is it brightens and darkens the texture to get these like fabric stripe effects. So this is still using my color map, but the ones that are darker are just a darkened version of my color map, and the ones that are brighter are just a brightened version. So it's still got the same variation in there, it's just offset. And that gives me a much more kind of lifelike cloth than just painting it. It gives me a lot more control. I can, if I wanted to, I could make it so that the darker areas are red instead, and that would be no issue. I wouldn't have to go back and retexture anything. What made you choose Substance over Mari to texture? And also, hi, Andrea. So, Substance over Mari. So, for this project, it was more just to experiment. All my other projects I've done in Mari, and historically, I definitely prefer Mari. The only reason I'm switching to Substance at the moment is because I want to do a bit more kind of freelance in the future about asset making. And Mari is expensive, and Substance is really cheap. So I own a full copy of Substance, and with Mari, I run the non-commercial one because I don't freelance with it like at all. So I want to kind of learn how to use learn how to use Substance to kind of a semi-professional level, so I can actually do freelance with it in the future. But yeah, but I definitely bring a lot of my Mari workflow into Substance in terms of like how I like to work. The only thing I really miss is the node graph. If this had a node graph, I'd be so happy, but it doesn't have a node graph, so I'm moderately happy. But yeah, let's continue painting this guy. Just lighten this out. But yeah, like one big issue that I find that if you're just now getting into texturing, one really big issue that I often find, and I know a few texturing artists that have like said the exact same thing. So this isn't like an original thought. This is just like agreeing with what other people said. What people do when they pick up Substance is they think they've done texturing when all they've done is dragged Substance like smart materials onto an object and then maybe color corrected it slightly. That's not texturing. But at least, well, you could say it's kind of elitist, but like texturing is going in, painting mass, and like specifically controlling exactly what you want. I mean, what I'm doing right now is a very low level of texturing. I'm not really a texture artist. It's not my skill set, but I know it well enough to get by, basically. But this right here, where I'm actually painting the things that I want in, is where texturing becomes texturing rather than just dragging materials. So let's just pull that back a bit. Yeah, that's subtle. So yeah, if I like, you know, this is the layer that's all hand painted, and it's not working yet, but it does quite a lot for making it feel a bit more lived in. And I could do that with a curvature 100%, but I just chose not to. Yeah, so let's get this exported and see if the pinstripe idea is working or not. I've got a feeling it won't, but let's just give it a go. So, save the scene. That's really interesting on the lit dev side. I'm still just learning Substance and playing around with texturing, understanding the new UI. Yeah, it's quite a interesting thing. Like lit dev is a really cool kind of discipline. Like it's definitely, I mean, you know, there's a reason I work in it. It's because I really enjoy it, find it really cool, and I guess one of the cool things about lit dev as well is like the job doesn't really change studio to studio. Like ultimately the only thing that changes is the render engine. So let's just go export textures, and this is all going to where I want it to. Export that. I've got a template set up to name things the way I want them to be named. Oh, Angel Cano. Okay, so that I'm guessing you was able to change your account name then. Yeah, I know you, right? We've spoken before.
I spoke to Angel on Facebook.
Yeah, you have.
/ Discord.
Yeah, cause I see you post the Access VFX like mentor channel.
Actually, someone has.
I've been added to like loads of groups in
So have I. I don't even know if this mentor's been added to mentor space.
I think Access VFX have just gone through, or Prospello have just gone through and like re-added people, because like loads of chats I've had with people that I intentionally killed the chats because they were silent for 4 or 5 months. They all came back.
Graduated now, so it's like.
Yeah. Right, they've all exported, right?
Oh my god.
What?
I've actually matched with someone that you helped on your masters.
What, sorry?
Tutoring.
Who?
I matched with a girl called Rebecca Prout.
Oh yeah.
Because I was like, that's so funny, it's Rebecca and Rebecca.
Wait, she mentioned you. I don't think she realizes that you're my girlfriend.
She did, she said Michael's mentioned you.
Alright. What the fuck? What are the chances of that? I've missed a few messages. Yeah, so Smart Materials are cheap people use. I just try to build it, but do try to understand the process. But looking at Smart Materials helped me understand it. Yeah, I mean, Smart Materials are definitely a tool. So, like the box, for example, in my scene is it's entirely Smart Materials, but then I've gone through and like rebuilt every aspect. The problem that I get is when people use Smart Materials when they're new to texturing, they just put the Smart Material on and maybe do one adjustment. Whereas really, whenever I try to use a Smart Material, if it's faster, it's faster. But whenever I use a Smart Material, I go through and like I turn off every layer and go through layer by layer at a time and adjust them to be exactly what I want them to be. And then I go on and add stuff on top. So like the box, I added a setup that kind of darkens individual planks, so they're not all the exact same color of wood. Just doing stuff like that really helps. I just got a message from Mara.
Oh yeah, it's about feedback. On the sculpt, but I haven't read it yet.
Can I get some feedback on the sculpt? Let's quickly reply to her. Sure. Currently streaming, so can't help right now. Though. Just send it through. look as soon as I can. Cool. But yeah, so, but it's definitely, they're a helpful tool to use. It's just a case of not over-relying on them. So let me just quickly go in, because I need to flush, well, I need to update my text files. I don't know how long that will take. Mara keeps referring to me as Captain. As in, like, Captain.
What?
Mara keeps referring to me as Captain.
Yeah.
Like, Captain. This guy's looking pretty decent. Her sculpting's improved quite a bit. I don't know if this is still going or not. Just save this guy. How do you tell when Maya's crash? It's been like, I've been using this now for over 8 years, arguably 10. And I still don't know how to tell when it's actually crashed and when it's just doing some really process intensive stuff. Oh, there we go. That's how you can tell. It starts working again. Yeah, let's quickly, I'm gonna go back into my perspective camera. I'm gonna hide the monster, hide the grass, and we don't really need to hide the box. Let's just go out here. Might take a little while for this to update the Arnold scene. Just because it's got to update all the textures again. It's updating the Arnold scene because it's basically just refreshed every texture, which was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. Wait, Van Halen died? No, what? Really?
Is he not already dead?
No. Van Halen.
Yeah. I thought
Oh, what the fuck?
And I knew he had throat cancer.
No. Damn it.
He's
Why?
65.
What, sorry?
He's 65.
Yeah. He changed guitar. Like, he completely changed the instrument. I have a suspicion that's why. So Fender did a limited run of like Frankenstrat replicas. This still isn't updating. They did a recent run of Frankenstrats, and they were priced at like 12 to 13k because they were signed by him. And I remember like the one they did before that was signed by him was like 4k, because that is a lot for a guitar. So I'm wondering if they priced it so high because they knew it would be like a last run of the ones that actually signed by him. Man, it's so bad. Ooh, that shoe color's awful. Let it clean up. Let's see if it's going to get any better. I'm gonna eat. Hopefully, I'll still be back. Still be on while I'm back. Yeah, I mean, I tend to stream until about 11 p.m. Because I'm pretty. You're based in London, right? So we're on the same time zone. Yeah. 11 p.m. is normally when I end the stream, unless something goes drastically wrong and I just want to play some games or something to chill. But yeah, I'll still be here. As this cleans up, I can't decide if I actually like the shoe colour or not. Becca, you've got a good eye for this stuff. Shoe colour. Is it bad or good? Or awful? Or moderately okay? I don't really know. It's kind of a corduroy thing, but I don't know in terms of like just suiting the character. It just feels wrong.
Yeah, it needs to be dark.
Darker.
Not light.
Do you think darker or actually just dark? Like straight up dark? Do you think darker or just... let's end that. Thanks for streaming, it's interesting. Yeah, no worries, man. As I said, like the reason I stream it, it helps me push myself to do more personal work, and it's also like semi-educational for people if they want to drop by. And obviously everything stays online, so it's there if people want to learn from it later. It's also there for me to relearn stuff that I've forgotten how to do, which is really helpful. Right, we need to change that base color. So value, dark. File, export textures. So this time I'm not going to update all the textures like I just did. Arnold, utilities, texture manager, base color. Oh, there's two of them in the scene, isn't there? Yeah, I keep forgetting about that. Delete TX. Shuffle pass. So I need to go through and clean out my files at some point. In terms of this scene, like cleaning out those files. Let's see if this is any better now. Update full scene. Converting 30 seconds. God damn it. Every time. There we go, it's worked. That spec color is way too bright though. Too saturated now? Maybe a bit too saturated now. Let's pull that back again. The saturation though could be the spec. So let's try pulling that spec back. Because the spec is like really over the top. Try lowering the saturation on you. Yeah, spec is the issue. So let's do a closer up view. Trousers haven't got the texture update. So I know the shoes have, so let's grab the shoes and these. Oh. Panels. Hyper shade. There you are. So do these have the same base color? They do. Okay. So this is being updated. It's file 10, right? Yep. Let's call this one kid base col. Oh, let's just call it col. We don't need base col. Reload. Utility. RGB texture. Cool. Then let's just go into here and turn off this remap. Oh, blend mode is set to none. That'll be why. Maybe not. Oh, that ramp should be set to add. Is that working? Get the grass back in there. I tend to find for whatever reason the grass really helps contextualize everything. Also helps hide the shoes. Let's see how the hat's looking at semi-close-up. So we do have like an environment fog as well, which is going to obviously slow everything down a bit. But that's a bit more interesting. Right, so I guess I'll start working on the environment a little bit, because I want to get that looking good. Looks so bad. Looks good from a distance, it looks terrible up close. I need to do some proper look dev on this at some point. Not just some like vague warbling shapes. I also need to fix the stretch UVs. But it works from a distance, so. And I'm not going to be rendering it that close up, I think. At least in focus, I'm not going to be rendering it that close up. So, what we're going to do for the environment. Cool. Let's put the guitar away. Right, so we've got a pencil, which we're going to need to UV in texture at some point. We've got paper, background thing, tabletop. I feel like we need a glass or something. Just because I want to practice glass shading. So let's create a cylinder. Oh no, let's create a cube. Cool. And then solo this guy. Smooth this a few times. That amount of times is fine. Deform. Sculpt deformer. Oh, that's not what I want. Deform, sculpt deformer. That works better. Mesh display, reverse. What's the average dimensions of a glass? And that's vaguely glass shaped, right? What thickness do we want now? I guess ideally we should just works better if I do this. About there. And we all need to fill that with some fluid. Should I put Coke in it or something? Like, not cocaine, like actual Coke. Let's fill it up to about here. Mesh display, reverse, then just copy what down here is doing. So connect U to U, that would mean U to U, and then one on either side, yep, cool. Average verts, G, that. And then we're going to need to really reinforce this edge. Give it a little bit of surface tension as well. Cool. And then just very mildly inflate the whole thing, that it pushes through the glass slightly. Cool. Group those. Panel, render cam. So compositionally it's in the wrong place. Let's modify center pivot. Then that, I didn't know that would work, but apparently it does. Let's show the monster as well, just so we have that in mind. Yeah, that works. Alright, cool. So let's hide the monster again. Assign a, let's just call this glass geo. Then drink geo. So I don't know what it's actually going to be yet. Let's create a material for you. Arnold shader, standard surface. Then open you. Go into the render cam. Let's also quickly kill this. Just gonna call this glass mat. Turn diffuse weight to 0 for now. I'll be adding that back in later. Let's go to transmission. Add some weight to you. Go to advanced and enable caustics. So, should probably put him in focus, right? So now I just need to turn that glossiness up, or roughness down. Add my subdivision. Opaque is automatically handled right now, right? So this shouldn't do anything. Let's just set reference to 0, see how it looks. Yeah, it needs something. Let's go 0.05. And then what I'll do, just to get something that feels a bit different, I should go into coat and add something that's just a little bit rougher. Something like that. So it's like skin grease or something. And obviously we'll map that at some point. Just lower the weight of it a bit. I don't want him to be drinking milk, so I have to replace the Lambert, but what else can I do? Just quickly add some kind of color. I just want to see how this works. Okay. What happens if I set you to like 0.1? Okay, set you to 1 depth. Because no glass is perfect, so we're going to have a little bit of scatter in there. Just a case of what depth I have to set it to for it to look good. I'm going to add like a slightly bluish tint to it, because glass normally does have a tint. That's still too obvious though. Higher depth. That's getting about right. So let's get to color. Let's go with this guy, desaturate it a little. Lower the value too. Let's push it a bit more towards blue. Let that clean up for a moment, just because I want to see how it looks clean. I need to push the scatter even further. Let's try like 10. It's double the scatter radius now. I guess saturation can kind of change a bit now, so let's increase the brightness of that. But decrease the saturation. Yeah, it's too obvious still, isn't it? I don't know how subtle this has to be for it to work. Also, that's making it a bit too cloudy, so let's lower the weight a little bit. In fact, no, there is no weight. Okay, so we need to set that higher still. Let's go 15. What's the IOR of glass? There's loads of different types, right? Glass IOR. G. Where's glass? Glass 1.5. Oh, right. That's a bit disappointing. I want to do something different. I also need to round out the bottom of this glass a bit more because it feels a bit too perfect. I also want to add some very subtle warping to it. Well, let's get the material inside there set up. Assign a new material. Standard surface, yeah. And I'm going to go with a Coke. So we're going to need to get some reference up first because I have no idea how this should look. Diffuse down to 0. Temporarily reflection down to 0. Transmission up pretty high. Caustics on. Trace depth might have to go up for this to work. Because I don't know if this is. Yeah, so let's increase the trace depth. Just gotta remember how the fuck you do it. This will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It needs a minimum of 6. And that's not including volume. I don't know if volume plays into that ray depth. Diffuse needs to go up to like 6. Specular needs to go to 6. Transmission I'm going to put up by 1 more. And then let's total this up. So that's 12. 17, 20. Oh, that wasn't it. Alright. So why aren't you working? So it's not trace depth. Do I just need more samples? I'm pretty new to Arnold, so I don't really know how this works. Huh. Interesting. Okay, so if it's not trace depth, let's lower all those back down. Let's go 4, 4, keep 5. This needs to go down by 4, so it's 16. What else could it be? I need to figure out how to get this to work before I go much further. why is it not working? Is there something on the geometry I need to do? Just out of curiosity, let's try turning off glass shadows. No, it's not that. Well, it's weird how much of a difference that makes. Okay. Try a different camera. Let's massively decrease that green as well. Right. If that material on its own is working. Granted, it looks fucking weird. Really weird, actually. Are the normals broken? Display polygons. In fact, let's quickly just override this. Display polygons, face normals. Huh. So why are you broken? There's nothing black for it to refract, right? Oh wait, put him on. Let's hide that for a second. So it is refracting. Why does it look so weird? What have I missed? Okay, let's quickly search tutorials. Arnold water in glass. Shooting glass and liquid. Isn't the it wouldn't be the environment fog, would it? No, it's not. So why are you doing this? Unless maybe this stuff wasn't actually being used before. Let's try putting that to like 10. I'm putting you up to 10. I'm putting you up to 10. There we go. Transmission depth. So let's set those back to like 5. So I was just being an idiot earlier. So I need to get that atmosphere back, don't I? Cool. Let's go to 6. Where was the magic number? Oh, it was 6. Okay, so I was just yeah, I was being an idiot when I was putting those radar values in. Oh well, not the end of the world. So I'm gonna pump that up just a little bit more. Let's go with 8. I'm gonna put these up one more as well. 21. So let's tweak the glass material. I've got a feeling the coat is an issue. So we need to actually change the actual water material now, don't we? I'm gonna render at test resolution. Let's go 50%. Let's go even lower actually. View test resolution 25%. That isn't 25%. What the fuck? Alright, stop. What's going on with you? What? Help. Change camera maybe? Huh. That's a new one. Render, update full scene, I guess. That's fucking weird. There we go.
I'll need your help tomorrow.
Sure, what's up? You know where to take it. Is something defeating you? Oh, sorry? What do you mean you don't know where to take it?
I don't know what direction to go.
Oh, in terms of like our direction.
Texturing isn't my thing.
Yeah, texturing's not really my thing either. So I know how you feel. You're gonna head to bed? Okay. I'll end the stream about 10:30, I think.
So many dishes today.
What's that?
Dishes.
I can do them, don't I?
You sure?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll do some of them tonight and some of them in the morning if there's loads. So let's try changing that test resolution again, 50%. Okay, and then do that. So let's start getting our Coke. I need reference. So it's water-based, so we know that's going to be the thing. Let's add a very mild roughness and change the color. Oh wait, yeah, sorry, wrong thing. So I'm just going to color pick for now. Let's get a bit too red. Scatter needs to go like super bright. Ooh, how can I add a scatter effect that doesn't cloud it? Okay, so scatter. It's weird how it makes like a lava effect. Let's set that back to 0. Set you back to regular white. Let's try subsurface. So surface color I'm just going to set to white, but then the radius I'm going to set to that. That's probably the slowest way to do it, right? Again, I don't really know Arnold that well. Yeah, it's a terrible way to do it. So let's set you back to black. So how do you work? Kill this for a sec and put a cylinder behind this just so I can tell if I'm actually seeing through it or not. Right, let's try. Nope. Okay, so I'm not seeing through it. Whereas if I set that to 0, I am seeing through it. Okay, so how the fuck? Is there an IOR of Coke? I imagine it's pretty much the same as water. So how much of that is the plastic shading? Alright, let me just search Coke in glass. Obviously this needs to go way darker. We know that much. Needs to go a little bit more towards red. Let's just set it to black so you're not distracting me. That just doesn't feel right to me. As in, like, it feels like it should shade differently. Oh, is that the secret? Not add a scatter color, just use depth. So what is scatter doing then? Is that adding? Either way, this is a bit more promising. So let's see what brightening this up does. And then reducing that depth, so let's set it to 1. Ooh. Let's turn that reflection way down. If not off, actually. So it's like 1.5. Adjust that glass again. Turn roughness off for a moment. And then go down to coat is off as well. Set to black so it's not distracting. Let's render through perspective. Maybe the glass is too thick. And that glass is pretty chunky. I'm gonna buy some Coke, put it in a glass tomorrow, really study it for a bit. Need to add some bubbles for it to look right as well. I think that scattered depth needs to be a bit lower. So setting that depth does a few things. It seems to enhance the contrast and boost the saturation slightly. That looks like incredibly flat Coke at the moment. Let's get some bubbles in there. We need a lot of bubbles in there. What do I have that can scatter stuff quickly? Let's just quickly check something. So we want to fix that as well. Let's just quickly add I think that should be even closer. There we go, a bit less stretching now. And you need a little bit more support too. Cool, let's get some bubbles in there. And then we can start adding like roughness, variation, that sort of stuff. So, bubbles, if you don't know how to do them, they're really easy. Like, really easy. Let's just quickly sort out the normals in this guy. Mesh display, set to face, soften edge. Kind of tempted to smooth it once. And smooth this guy once as well. Nah. Right, so to add bubbles in something, all I have to do is create a, I'm going to start with a cube, because I always do. Smooth it. And for the sake of a bubble, one subdivision is fine. Let's just deform that guy. Do a sculpt deformer. Cool. So then all we need to do now is grab you, solo those guys. Basically, what you want to do is invert the normals of this one. So let's go to mesh display, reverse. And then let's assign the coke material to that. Shading, X-ray. Cool. Just for the sake of testing, we'll just get a few inside it. I think I duplicated that guy twice. Let's just have a quick render of that. Zero shading groups. This has got multiple shape nodes. All of them have multiple shape nodes. Go Windows, General, Namespace. Where are you at? Not Namespace. How would I go to Namespace? No editor. This is the one. Oh wait. I'm just gonna do this. No. There we go. I have to update full scene again. I think I'm going to tint the glass a little bit more blue instead. So let's yeah. So we're going to need a lot of bubbles for this to work. Like a lot. But they do work. Delete this guy now. Cool. Well, I guess we get on with the tedious task of actually placing bubbles. In fact, let's check the render cam first. Does the depth need to change more? This still doesn't look right. Just change my Google. Glass of Coke. I think that depth needs to be cranked way further than I've got it. So let's be brave with it. Stop being a pansy about it. .75. Yeah, I just need to find the right color, which I think needs to be a ton more saturated. And a little bit brighter. No, definitely not a little bit brighter. A little bit redder, sure. Let's just focus point. Where is it? It's in cam group. And get a monster in there. Do I want to replace it with just water? Compositionally, it might look better. So let's just quickly save this scene. Yeah, I guess water looks like it makes more sense. We'll go with water then. Do I want the bubbles then? I mean, you can still get. Let's just search glass of water. Let's see if you ever get bubbles. So I'm sure you do. It's just a case of how well do these stick to the side of the glass. Depends how cold the water is, I guess. No, there are examples of it. This is a really pretty picture, actually. This is really nice. I might save this. Oh, let's grab that. Cool, so I'm going to minimize that for a moment. You're already saved. I'll save you again. Cool. Close that. Should I put it on a little tea cozy? Or coaster? For once I'm starting with a cube and actually wanting to model a cube shape. Let's just do... Too much smoothing? That's too much smoothing. Let's go one edge loop closer on either side. And then I guess we need a loop across the middle. There we go. Maybe a little bit thick still. Well, that's way too thick. Jesus. Not sure if I'll like the tea cozy or not. It's adding too much. So let's get rid of that. So I'm going to need to add a material to the table as well. Just as a temporary thing. What colour was this before? Let's shift that color slightly towards blue. Scatter. Set you. Oh. There we go. It feels a bit nicer. Let's figure out what color table we want. This one's going to be a struggle. I can tell. Large flat screen for me. Oh, that's specular I'm changing right now. So let's change that back to render cam. Leave that rendering for a moment. So what else do we need? I need my environment layer. And what are you? Oh, that's the 10 box. I feel like what would be really good reference is the recent RTX demo they did with all the marbles. It could be quite interesting just to see kind of what materials their environment was built out of and what would work for my scene. Hard to tell. Let's slightly adjust the position of that render cam. I'm wondering if I need to bring the head down slightly. Like, will this work better there? Like, compositionally wise. Does it feel more in your face? Feels a bit more aggressive. That temporarily. Modify center pivot. render for a moment. I need to remodel quite a bit of this, I think, once I figured out the pose. I feel like the body's too tall. Like, it matched the reference, but it just feels too much for a 3D scene. One of my tutors, as I'm interested in playing. So, which tutor? Also, welcome to the stream. Which tutor though?
Welcome to the stream. Who are you?
Yeah, well, it's not who are you. It's like one of my tutors recommended them. So I'm just like, it's someone from Bournemouth, I guess.
I like that.
I'm just confused.
That's the new opening for now on. Welcome to the stream. Who are you?
I mean, that's what people ask when they see my stream. I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
It's just a dick in a pink bathrobe.
It's just some dude set in a pink bathrobe overweight. Like,
You look pretty under your pink bathrobe.
I do
Are
actually.
you that cold?
No, because my technique, when I'm feeling cold, what I do is I don't add layers. So one thing, it's Andrew. Oh, Andrew is in Andrew King. If so, that's really cool. I haven't seen him in years. Oh, you're in Manchester. Yeah, okay, cool. Yes, it's Andrew King though. That's really cool. He's telling people to drop by. He was my first, like, he taught me the basics back in 2012. I started on a college course with him. He's a really, really good tutor. Listen to everything he says because he knows his shit. Yeah, no, my technique when I'm cold, for some reason I add layers to my upper body and not my lower body. So I'm starting hearing.
You lose the glasses from your chest.
But yeah, it's just like I don't like layering up everywhere. I'm literally just boxers and socks, and then t-shirt, hoodie, and bathrobe.
We're a very I'm a very fashionable person. Michael and
I am not fashionable. I am anything but fashionable.
Fashion sweaty to go.
It's called sweaty, you fashion. Are you okay? Are you on the verge of a breakdown or something? You don't normally find me very funny.
Funny looking.
Funny. Oh, I never heard that one before. First one to say that was my mother. What?
Do you want to know how I got this face?
Genetics.
My mother.
That was a tangent.
Tell me more about your pink bathrobe.
Yeah, it literally started as you mentioning a pink bathrobe and me being like, I have to defend the pink bathrobe, defend my honor.
You'll bring honor to us all.
Yes. Right. I need something else over here. Like, background element, it needs to be something else here. Because the thing is, the main angle this is going to be rendered from is this side. Because this is the one where when I pose it, this is going to be how he's presented in frame. I might do a render that's like an overall view of everything once I figured out how to get the body working for this guy. But so I'll need some stuff over on this side for that. So, pal, are you on the new uni course that is running at Manchester Metropolitan?
Is your accent as confused as Michael's?
I do sometimes sound very confused when just asking a regular question. I don't know why.
Do you sound like you're from Manchester? Do you not? Is the question I'm asking.
I'm going to assume no, based on the name of the account.
I mean, your surname is Kauchi.
True. Well, it's Couchy, fuck you.
It's Kauchi.
I don't want it to be Kauchi. I don't care if generations of Kauchis have said Kauchi. It's not Kauchi, it's Couchy. My heritage is wrong.
Your weird Italian name to your...
Hey, I found out I've got a Russian only 2 generations.
Russian Orthodox Jew.
Yeah. My great-great-grandfather was Russian Orthodox Jewish. Ruffin. He was Ruffin. We're really hyper right now. Why are we hyper? Just end the stream.
Smokes a big cigar in the background.
Yeah, I'll end the stream in a minute. So I'm just trying to figure out what I want in the background of this guy.
Or become the Joe Rogan. What do you call him?
Joe Rogan?
Yep.
As in a podcast guy?
Yeah.
I am not podcast material. I do not have enough personality.
Do you ever think of just naming your child after an element?
Is that something he said?
No, I'm just quoting Enoch.
Oh, right. What do I need here?
A hero.
I need a hero. Let's model a little Superman for the
Oh, a
background.
little Werther's mint. I don't know why that came into my head.
I mean, that perfectly suits. What the fuck?
But either out of the wrapper, so you know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
in the wrapper, with a wrapper beside it.
Oh god, the modelling for that though. Alright, let me search.
Werther's mint wouldn't be too bad.
Werther's original.
Delicious. They were my top 10 sweets.
They are really, really hard to make back.
No, they're not. The little sweetie itself out of the wrapper.
Oh yeah, the sweet on its own is easy enough to make, but how the fuck? I mean, I could, if I wanted a real challenge, I could try to do the bag, but I'm gonna want to end myself before I finish it. Werther's original. Oh fuck. They're gonna be so difficult to do. Why did he suggest something so good but so terrible? This is a Werther's original, by the way, guys. If you don't know what a Werther's original is. Oh god. I could do the wrapping in Marvelous Designer. Oh, do I do it? Alright, yeah. I'm gonna do Werther's original. Where would it go in frame though? Because a Werther's original does actually kind of perfectly suit this image. In terms of like everything's gonna be like just a writer's desk and he's like working on stuff. You made a candy wrapper solver. Nice, man. Dibs. Now I want to try and make things myself. Oh, I don't want any help in the projects, but that's really cool that you made it though. Yeah, I think because I don't have a full license to Houdini. I've got Apprentice, which means I can't export out of Houdini as Geo. So unless I wanted to bring my whole scene into Houdini and get Arnold in there, then it's just not worth doing. But I do have Marvelous Designer, which I have paid for and I want to get use out of. So I could probably make something with that. It's just a case of getting cloth simulation to look like thin plastic, which is going to be easier said than done. I think overall though this image is interesting. I think if we were to get, so this is like a, is this a cabinet? I don't know. I need to figure out what this thing is and why it's taller than the table that we're sat on. And I think one of those plastic trays that you can get paper in, like where it's like a red one and a blue one. Not necessarily red and blue, but just having those there could be interesting. I do need to figure out what I'm going to do for the worm thing. Just highlight this area, let that clean up. That's where everyone focuses anyway. get the tip of the glass in focus. So something I like to do when I can't be bothered waiting for a full render, what I'll do is I'll render the whole image until it's like relatively noise free, and then I'll go to high contrast areas and render just the edges, so like areas like this one, because overall when you look at this image now it'll feel cleaner just because like these edges aren't as messy, because you don't detect noise as much in flat areas as you do in edges. So I like to abuse that quite a lot. Yeah, literally just clean up those edges, it will start to feel a lot better. Granted, it gives a really weird effect on corners like this, because it feels like it's like superimposed in, but I guess in a way it kind of is. And let's just get this area cleaned up. Yeah, that glass at the back is so heavy. Oh god, doing the Werther's original is going to be my undoing. I'm going to give it a go though. Not today. Definitely not today. See, I really like this glass, and I kind of want to make it now. Like, because it's not difficult, it's just a case of altering the shape of the glass I've already done. It just feels more interesting. It's not as complex to model as something like this, but it's more interesting. Yeah, that glass is like the most heavy thing in the scene. That's so dumb. How clean can this get at this distance? My final renders for this project are going to be so fucking long. Anyway, I think I'm going to end the stream here, guys. But yeah, sorry, pal, I know you just joined, but I'll be continuing on Thursday as normal, and we'll probably try to make a Werther's original. Although I do feel like I need to work on something a bit more. Oh fuck! I just moved my camera. I do need to focus on getting the worm's body right, or the monster's body. Don't really know what it is, to be honest. Just because it doesn't make much sense for the scene for him to be that tall. Like for the individual, like for the original reference, sure, it looks fine. But I don't know. It's trying to decide if I want it to be massive, if I want it to feel like genuinely huge and threatening to the kid. Hard to tell. But yeah, anyway, that'll be the end of this stream. But I'll speak to you guys on Thursday, hopefully. It's nice to see that this stream got a few more views than normal. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your night, and hopefully see a few of you on Thursday. Bye, guys.